Live. So today we're going to cover Operation Loyal Guardian, which is very near and dear to my heart, and I'll go into what that project is and that concept. But I want to make the point, there are 5 elements, and we have 5 days left until the event, 5 elements. So each night or each day I'm going to go live until we have the event. And what is that event? Of course, it is electro rock love. Passionate, positive, a little bit crazy, and changing the world. Electro rock love, electrorocklove.com, electrorocklove.com. All right, go there, check it out, click on event, you'll see it. Register, it's free to register, and I will see you there on Saturday night, September 23rd at 11 p.m. New York time. That's Hong Kong time, 11 a.m. on Sunday the 24th, okay, of September. So, what is Operation Loyal Guardian and why is it so important? So the overall mother organization is called Thriving Lives Group, thrivinglives.group, okay? And within that, it's a social enterprise. So we have other mechanisms and mechanics to generate revenue, earn profit, of course, but the framework is designed to where every time we're proceeding to grow and to build memberships and make sales in services and products and events, everything, a piece of that is going into this concept called Thriving Lives Group. Into Operation Loyal Guardian. So what this is, so the name is Operation Loyal Guardian. In terms of hashtags, we are going to dominate this realm. The hashtags will be Loyal Guardian and Loyal Guardian Ops. The website is loyalguardianops.com. And what this is, think about, just imagine this if you are a parent, okay? Imagine your child being taken from you or abducted, abused, something like this, okay? Or somebody close to you, someone you love dearly, okay? Imagine, put it close to your heart, because this is happening now to countless people. Stay with me. I'm not choking up. I'm just, I'm not choking up emotionally. Stay with me. So, the point is, there are vulnerable children being abused, being neglected, orphans, and what the concept is, it's either going to be a standalone app, or this is the big picture. It's a standalone app, or it's part of the thrivinglives.group app infrastructure. But it's like I'll just go with the flow. It's like a gamified kind of system where anyone that gets involved, and I'll explain the different types of people and organizations that can be involved, but the idea is what we want to do is expand the number. We want to expand the awareness to this issue. We also want to get people involved, organizations and people, to volunteer, to help protect these children, get them into safer environments, including a mentorship program, foster, and adoption as well. So with that said, and this is why it's so important. Number one, yeah, it's kind of like, oh, you know, it's maybe you are not directly connected to it, right? It's kind of like abstract. Oh, there are these children, you know, that are being abused, or they need help. But what I'm telling you, the why is so critical, because there are 2 whys. One why is there are children that need guidance, that need support, that need you. And it could be something as simple as, you know, maybe you cannot foster. One thing, just a side note, I want to build awareness in people that have the resources and ability. Maybe these are parents who already have kids that are older now. They're in a position, maybe they're in their 50s or so. They have the resources and ability to bring someone in, a foster child, or even adopt, and it's not even on their radar. They're not even thinking about this. And it doesn't have to be a small child, right? It could be, you know, a child that's already fairly developed and semi-independent, but they're just living in an orphanage, and they need that extra element of like family development, okay? So I just want to make that point, because I think there's a lot of people out there that have good hearts, parents, or let's say couples, and they have the ability to help, and it's not even on their radar. But and I'll get to my story of how this came to be in a little bit, but it has rocked my world emotionally and has been so fulfilling. I did mentor with in an orphanage, and that was the other point I wanted to make. What are the two whys? One why do this? Okay, I'm recruiting. Okay, so I'm looking for you to get involved however you can, including share this video. It could be you wanting to contribute in some way, become a volunteer, get active in helping me develop the app, develop the organization, whatever, whoever you are, if you're feeling it, if it's resonating with you, that's the point of this. And, you know, I'm just a human, and I didn't have, you know, I have some ideas on what I want to say, but me hesitating, this goes for you in your life and whatever you're trying to do as well. Hesitation is going to be the regret you have at the end of your life, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to just go ahead and proceed and send out the feelers. So with that said, these are the two whys. One why is the child that needs you to step up and do something in some way that helps benefit them. The other why, and it's very powerful, is for your own soul. So, and you know what? I'll just tell you my story now, and then I'll get into how the different organizations and ways to volunteer. Okay. So several years ago, I had this idea to volunteer at a local orphanage in Hong Kong, and so I went through this vetting process where, you know, they vetted me. I had to meet with the social workers, and in that process, I was approved, and they made a point. Before I met these children, they said there are two children, they're siblings, and they're in the orphanage, and they're looking, you know, they're trying to get adoptive parents for these kids, possibly some, you know, in some other country in Australia or Europe, you know, somewhere in Europe. But the point is, the children come as a pair. So that's much more difficult to adopt because people generally want one child. That's number one. Number two, one of the children had some behavioral issues, some developmental issues, behavioral issues, including, you know, potentially physically violent, you know, something like this, okay? These are small children, 5 and 7 years old. So in this process, when they interviewed me, they said, hey, great news. Number one, you've been approved. Number two, we'd like you to work with these children. And the other third point is that these children are going to, you know, they'll form some attachment. So the point is, once you agree, if you agree, you'll need to come twice a month on like a Sunday, you know, every couple of weeks. And again, these children are 5 and 7. I've never met them. But before meeting them, I needed to agree. So they said, do you agree to this process? So at that moment, it was very emotional because I'm about to commit. What if these children don't get adopted? And what if, you know, they just grow up in the system? And this is basically, I'm committing to, you know, 10, 15 years. Twice a month, every other Sunday for 10 to 15 years, and I've never met the children before. And this is what was proposed to me. So what did I do? I said yes. Okay, so I said yes, I'll do it. And I committed to these children before I ever met them. And so so then the next step was we met in a room, and again, this is part, and I want to get into safeguards and making sure that whoever we bring on board into this process are safe people to help with the children, experienced, etc. But so anyway, so the point is, we first got into a room. I was being observed. They wanted to see how I interact with the kids, and everything went fine. There was a good connection, right? And of course, I learned the little boy was a bit wild, and I worked with, you know, he was fine though, but I get their point about behavioral issues, right? But so anyway, so I worked with the little boy. He was 5, and the older sister was 7. And I need to tell you this part of the story because this was the moment that like changed my life. So I was going for several months, and there was a park right outside part of the orphanage. They had like a play area outside. So a bunch of the kids, there were other volunteers as well, like mentors. So there were a bunch of kids out there playing, including the little brother. He went and played, and the girl, she just held my hand, and she didn't want to go. I said, hey, you know, go play, and she didn't want to go, right? And she's holding my hand, and we're just like standing there, and we're watching the kids, and I'll tell you, I already fell in love with her, right? So I was like, oh, she's very sweet. And I just want to share, she grew up in this orphanage. It's almost like, imagine it like this. Imagine it's like a kid that's in school, but they can never leave school. So it's like they wake up at school, they're there all day, dinner time at school, they go to bed at school. It's like this. And this girl had this experience for 7 years, her whole life. So she was, you know, she was very smart. It's almost like a prison, right? So she's very smart, and she knows how to get what she needs from the other kids and all this, right? But very sweet, okay? And so I fell in love with this girl, and she's holding my hand, and she looks up at me, and she said to me, Daddy? Like, can I call you Daddy? And I was like, oh, it hit me hard. I was like, wow, this is powerful stuff. And then, you know, I said, no, Uncle, like, I'm Jim, right? No, it's cool. You know, like, we're cool. I come visit you. Like, I'm your big friend, your uncle. So that moment, I realized how effective somebody could be. So if you're out there, whoever you are in your life, whatever you're doing, I'm telling you, whatever value you believe you have or not, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, you can have such an impact on just one life, right? So it's like, so that's what happened with me. And I'm only one person. So then the idea came, I can't do this. It's like, I see the power I see the effect it had on me. And I believe other people that have no awareness of this at all can experience it too. And then it could grow, right? And this is the beautiful thing, all of these little beings that I'm talking about that are impressionable and they need our support, these are the adults of the future. So it's like we're teaching, we can help shape and change the world, right? So I'm very committed to this, as I think you can sense. And I have good news with this story. I think we volunteered together, like it was about maybe a year. And then the orphanage told me that there was a family in Australia that had interest, and they started to, you know, they had interest. So they shared some images of the kids, and they had some video chats, and then, so they told me, don't get your hopes up, but it looks promising. Well, the great news is that the family decided to adopt the two kids together. They flew to Hong Kong. It was an older couple, and they had a bunch of older kids, like I was saying. So they already had a bunch of their own kids, 5 or 6 kids that were theirs, and those kids were older. And then it was like, hey, let's adopt other kids, right? Younger kids. So this family came. We all spent time together. We went to their hotel. So these kids like left, they signed the papers and all that. The kids were able to leave the orphanage with the new family. We all went to the hotel together, swam in the pool, had lunch. It was a very cool experience. And it was, and then I saw them off, and I did my part with helping create a, to help give them a sense of normalcy, not just being in the orphanage all the time, but having someone older that cares about them, that comes to visit them. So anyway, I wasn't expecting to get like emotional, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do, and never mistake kindness for weakness. I know that's a cliche term, but sometimes people don't understand when a person, or let's say a man, has passion inside of them. It's almost like it can come through in many different forms. So sometimes the energy's so powerful that it's just tears might flow, but they ain't weak tears. They're not sad tears. They're freaking powerful tears. Okay, so that's why I'm committed to this project. Operation Loyal Guardian, loyalguardianops.com, hashtag Loyal Guardian, hashtag Loyal Guardian Ops. We might even throw in hashtag Operation Loyal Guardian. We'll see about that. But so this is the key. If you are involved in any of these things I'm about to say, is that Aunt Olga? Aunt Olga, I love you so much, and I'm so happy that you are here with me right now. It's so awesome that we are still in this realm together. So I just want to say I love you so much. And so I was talking about, I'm just going to do a quick recap. I volunteered with orphan children, and it absolutely changed my life, and it affected me in such a way that I'm committing my life to this, and I'm sharing it with my 90-year-old auntie right now, who's very sharp. The last time I saw her, she said she had the mind of a little kid still, and she was acting silly, and she's a great artist as well. And so it's just great to have you with us. So the point is, any sort of organization, okay? I'm just going to go down the list. Any organization that is dedicated to protecting children. This is law enforcement. This is any other private group, but you're focused on protecting children in all realms, okay? Another one is adoption agencies, orphanages, any sort of social service. So it could be social services, related to government or some sort of private or volunteer organization, any sort of organization. And then in terms of individuals, there are, I think, 3 types, right? What I did was mentoring. So you find a location, an orphanage or some sort of center, and you go and you volunteer your time for free. And I guarantee you, this time you spend, because time is the only, well, there are many finite things, right? But time is definitely finite, and the clock's ticking for all of us, including me, Aunt Olga, including you, right? So time is ticking for everybody, and the key is, right, don't waste your time, but this is time well spent, becoming a mentor to someone that needs you, okay? So that I'm putting out there. The other thing is fostering, right? So maybe you can't take on the full responsibility to like take on a child, but these social services and orphanages, etc., they have a burden with resources, etc. So they may need someone to take a child temporarily, okay? And then also adoption. Like I said, part of my objective is to reach people that have never even thought about it, right? Maybe they thought, who knows what they thought, but they're 50, they're 60, they may or may not have already had children, and the children are older or whatever, and this idea didn't even occur to them. And maybe there's a 12-year-old kid that needs somebody. You know what I mean? I would, well, I don't want to share too much about the orphanage, but let me just say this. There were other volunteers, but there were a lot more children than there were volunteers. So I would go and I'd get like my kids and we'd hang out, we'd have snacks, we'd play games, whatever. We'd go outside in the play area. But as we walked down the hallway, you'd see these rooms with kids just sitting in there, watching a movie or playing games, but it was all just a bunch of kids. And this is on Sunday. So this is like, they're at this place 7 days a week. It's like waking up at school, being at school all day, eating lunch at school, eating dinner at school, going to bed at school, waking up at school. Now it's Sunday. It's like a day to go out and have fun or do some activity, family day. And guess what? They're at school. They're sitting in one of the classrooms. They're watching a movie because it's a flex day, but they're still there. Okay? So I saw that, and that bothered me. All right? So, anyway. So I hope you're feeling it. I hope you'll look into it. And again, loyalguardianops.com. The main site is operationloyalguardian.com or .org, whatever. But the point is, this is something that we're going to build and develop together. And the last point I wanted to make was about safeguards. So the idea is this includes sting operations, monitoring, right? The idea of any sort of predator or any sort of person that's into some sneaky, nasty crap, this is going to be a no-go, okay, for them. So Operation Loyal Guardian, they'll know to stay away from it. And if they try to, oh, they want to volunteer or whatever, we're going to have safeguards in place to make sure that this is a non-issue, okay? So, and then in terms of how to build this network, because there are all different kind of organizations out there, even like with foster, with adoption and foster, there's only so much you could do with making sure these are good quality people, but background checks and references and all this kind of idea, right? Anywhere that's possible, we do monitoring to make sure that, there are cameras or whatever. If a mentor is coming to a location to help. So that's all I have for today. So again, these are the 5 elements. Today was within the social enterprise structure. This was the charitable volunteer, let's call it it's a social enterprise, right? So Operation Loyal Guardian is part of the charitable function within the system. And as Thriving Lives Group as an organization, as a mother, grows and expands, every time, like I said, every product, service, or event where we earn revenue, a portion of that keeps going into Operation Loyal Guardian. Okay, so that's the structure. So yeah, it's built in. So the idea is we use entertainment. This is going to come soon. It'll be on another day. Entertainment, e-commerce, where we make it fun, we make it exciting, we make people not even realize that they're helping change the world, but they're having fun, they're going to events, and in the process, they are helping to change the world by feeding Operation Loyal Guardian, okay? So again, this is my final little reminder that in 5 days, we have hello, let me try that again. Cut, start again. This is why I love live. You just make adjustments as you go. The point is, here we go. If I were doing this and it wasn't live, I'd make so many mistakes and be like, oh, I want to restart it. Oh, I want to restart it. But here it's like, F it. We have stuff to do, right? So in 5 days, it's passionate, positive, a little bit crazy, and going to change the world. And let me start it. I don't want to say is going to. I want to talk present tense. Sorry, people. Let me do one more time. Okay, here we go. In 5 days, Electro Rock Love. It's passionate, positive, a little bit crazy, and changing the world. Electro Rock Love. ElectroRockLove.com. ElectroRockLove.com. All right, thanks. Bye, everybody. Bye.